Okay, I think we can resume. As I promised, we start, playing a little bit with JavaScript, okay, for the whole 1 hour and a half. So, to play with JavaScript, we need to, have some tools installed. That's what I showed you on Monday, okay? So, we will not start from the more complex setup with the web application and so on. We start from something really basic that will be useful for later as well, okay? So we start with Node.js, okay? Node.js is a program that runs on your computer, and it's able to interpret the JavaScript code, okay? So we type JavaScript code, or maybe we write a file and we say, Node, execute this file, and it will execute the JavaScript code, okay? So it will print something and so on, okay? The really basic stuff in the beginning. And then later with libraries, we will use it for the server, web server, but not today. And then we will use a programming environment because, typing code is so boring on, text editors. And if we have some tools that helps us, to indent code, have colors and things, we can be more productive. Okay, and what we chose for this course, which is actually a choice that many makes also outside the education environment, is Visual Studio Code. Okay, and you have the installation instruction for all of this, right? In Linux, Windows, and so on, Mac OS, and so on. So, in case you have your own computer, I hope you installed everything. If you want to play, otherwise you just look at me. Okay. Or in next week, there will be the lab, and make sure you have these things installed, or if you have problems, just come with your laptop and we will try to fix them, okay? So that you have an environment where you can start working. Okay, good. So let me first open Visual Studio Code. I already installed the Node, okay? So I'm not going to show you how to install Node because I already did it according to the instruction, actually. Okay, this is a Linux, so I just did these steps, okay? So not to lose time during lecture, of course, okay? And so in Visual Studio Code, you open a folder. So let's make a folder where you want to play a little bit with the code. Okay, I open the folder, which is actually the one that I already put online. Okay, so the WA-Wix, that is the one on GitHub. Okay, you can open any folder you like in case you want to play with your code. Okay, in case you have cloned the GitHub repository and you work in this directory, everything is fine. The only thing you cannot do is do the commit and push. Okay. You can commit but not push, because push is just for me, okay? Otherwise everything gets messy, okay? If anybody can push. So just use your repository, just use a simple directory if you don't want to use Git. I mean, Git is not mandatory here. We use Visual Studio Code to create a simple file, and then we will open the terminal and execute the code, okay? So, let me open first week, and so we can read the text that I put on GitHub, okay? In case you don't have the Visual Studio Code, you just go on the usual course repository, lecture examples, okay? This week 01, and you find this exercise, okay? So yeah, you just need a browser. You can even watch it from your mobile phone. Okay, so that's a text. So in short, it's a small assignment, just to play a little bit with JavaScript, in this case arrays. Okay? So, exercise 1, better scores. Develop a small JavaScript program to manage a set of scores given to something, maybe your answer to a question and answer website such as Stack Overflow. Scores as integer number, and they may be negative. Okay, so you should define an array with all the scores. For the moment, we just define the array. Okay, we don't read it from the keyboard. I mean, JavaScript was not really thought as a language where you can type on a keyboard and read from a keyboard and so on. There are libraries to do that, but I mean, it's you know, it was born for another purpose. So let's just you know, define things in the code, which is the simplest way to start. And then we duplicate the array, and in the new array, eliminate all negative scores, eliminate the two lowest ranking scores, and add n plus 2 new scores. Okay, so the same number of negative scores plus 2 at the end of the array with the value equal to the rounded average of the existing scores. And then print the arrays and have a look at what happened. Okay, just, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I expect you to be able to program these things in a traditional programming language, just an array, you know, compute the mean, and things like that. Nothing special in terms of what we should do. I mean, the important thing is that we understand what's happening in JavaScript. Okay, so let's try to code a little bit. Okay, what I'm going to do here? Well, let me try to create a new file. Create a new file. Doesn't really matter. I mean, the name was exercise 1. x1.js. Okay, I write it .js. It's not mandatory, but as usual, if you keep things ordered, it's better. Okay, that's the typical extension of JavaScript source code. Okay, like .c for C, .py for Python, and so on. Okay, when you start a new file, first thing, even before thinking of anything else, use strict. Oops, use strict. Okay. Or just save. Remember to save things. Okay. Then we define a vector. We say that the marks const v. Let me. I use the same example as last year, so you can even cut and paste from last year. I mean, don't. But I mean, doesn't really matter the numbers. Just 0, 16. Okay. So this is just an array. I mean, I opened a square bracket. That's an array for JavaScript, right? Okay. So I typically build things interactively. I mean, testing things while I'm developing, if it's possible. Of course, for complex things, it might take a while before you can test something. But you know, this is really something very simple. So let's start with the simplest thing we can do now. I mean, let's print the array. Okay, console log. Okay, that's why we would like to have an environment, right? Because it gives us suggestions, it helps us typing and so on. Okay, console log v. As you can see, I like the semicolon at the end of the lines because I think keeps things ordered up. But as we said last time, I mean, it's not really mandatory. I mean, find what is more pleasant for you, is more convenient for you. Okay. So save. Don't forget to save. Okay. And then let's try to execute this code. How can we do? Well, let me reduce a little bit, otherwise the menu disappear. Okay, terminal, new terminal. Okay, so here this terminal, new terminal. This is a Linux terminal. Okay. If you are on Mac, you have the Mac terminal. If you are on Windows, if you installed everything correctly, you should have the Linux terminal as well in WSL. If you install the Node should start. Just typing Node, okay? And also, you know, make sure you installed a stable version and the recent version of Node, because if you have Linux and you install the Node version that comes with Linux, sometimes the package that comes with the distribution is quite old, okay? And so latest version is 22. If possible, use this latest version, okay? How do I exit now? Well, I know, otherwise just follow the suggestion. Okay, .help.exit, okay? I don't want to use it interactively. I want to use it to execute a program, okay? So node x no, week 01. I need to enter week 01, cd week 01, node x1.js. Okay, so that's the way in which I execute a JavaScript code, a JavaScript program. Okay, nothing really special as you do with Python, right? Python something and it executes itself. Okay, so let's say it works in some ways. I mean, the vector was printed, right? Okay, fine. Okay, then what's the text say? What is the text? Duplicate the array, and in the new array, do something. Okay, so first we duplicate the array. Okay, we want to have a second instance of the array, not just a reference. Okay, so a second instance of the array. How do you do the other instance? v2. Well, there are many different ways of duplicating the array. You remember array from, array of, and so on. Let's use the more JavaScript style way. Spread v. Okay. And then you can test it. Console log v2. Okay. Save. Don't forget to save, because if you don't save, you execute the older version of the program, right? Okay, save. I do it explicit and then with Control S. So node, and now I put two console log just for the two vectors. Actually, they are the same, right? And if you would like to make sure they are different in terms of arrays, just set, a different variable for an index of the array, of the one of the two. Let's say 0, okay? And just test it. So save it, test it. You see, the 0 is only in the second one, so we have two instances of the array, right? Because the first one didn't change. If we had the v2 equal v, the two would have been the same, okay? 0 and 0 in the previous and the... Okay, you can visualize this stuff in Python Tutor, but I mean, I already showed you Python Tutor enough, I think, okay? When you are in doubt, just type a few lines of code in Python Tutor and it will give you the visualization of what's happening. Okay, so at this point, what do we need to do? Well, of course, as in any programming assignment, we need to have an idea of how to solve it, right? So here, eliminate all the negative scores, and we need to count them as well. Okay, eliminate the two lowest ranking scores after the negative scores, right? And then we add the new scores. Okay, so we need, first of all, to identify where are the negative scores. We need to delete them, and then we need to delete two more scores, the lowest ranking scores, and then add other elements. Okay, so you might have different ideas of how to solve this. I mean, my idea would be, well, since we need to search for all negative elements, and then we need the two lowest ranking scores, maybe we can sort the array, right? And then see where are the negatives, and then take the other two elements and delete all of them. Okay, so that's also nice because in this way we see how to sort an array. Okay, so we look for a function in the library and see how to use it. Okay, so yeah, so v2, that's an array. Well, actually, I don't know. If I don't tell you, I mean, you need to search for some function that does the sorting. I mean, sorting is really basic stuff for computers, so it's really, I I mean, I can expect that, typically any language has some library function for doing sorting, right? I just need to find where. If you remember the slides, you can have a look at the slides on arrays, and you will see there's a method sort. But let's assume I don't know. Well, I can have a look. I can ask ChatGPT as well. I mean, I don't want to do it today. Maybe we do it for something more complex. But I mean, yeah, there's sort. Okay, that's fine. Let's see if it works. But I mean, I don't like, typing code which I don't really understand. So, I mean, I just discovered that sort is a method of the object array. Okay, array is a predefined object in JavaScript. Let's search in the documentation the extraction for using sort. Okay, because sometimes you cannot really just trust ChatGPT and stuff like that, or Copilot, or whatever is available today. Okay, sometimes you really need, authoritative references. I mean, the instruction of the language. I mean, the documentation of the language and so on. So let's have a look at this documentation at least once. So where do I search for? You remember I showed in the beginning, yes, all the resources that you have available. The first one is the Mozilla Developer Network, and that's probably the best one. Okay, developer.mozilla.org. Okay, sort. That works pretty well, and you see, no, you cannot see that much, but array.prototype, let's forget about it, array sort. Okay, let's have a look at this page. The sort method of array instances sorts the element of an array in place. So it modifies the array. That's fine for us, we have a copy. And returns the reference to the same array now sorted. Okay, but we already have the reference. The default sort order is ascending, built upon converting the element into strings. Built upon converting the elements into strings. Be careful. I mean, we have numbers. JavaScript is strange, we know. Okay? These are some of the things which are quite strange. And then comparing the sequences of UTF-16 code unit values. Okay, so the characters. The time and space complexity of the sort cannot be guaranteed. It depends on the implementation. Okay, don't really care too much. To sort the elements in an array without mutating the original array using toSorted. So it's nice. Also gives us an idea of the fact that there's a function that returns a new array. But actually now we don't need it. Okay, just something nice to know. So there's also an example, and it's nice because sometimes you can even try and even modify it. I think, right? 12, I think, yeah. You see the order. Okay, 12, 34, 21, and 100,000. You see the sort order. Okay, is it sorted? I mean, I don't think you passed the basic computer programming class, right, with this sort if you implemented it yourself, because it's sorting strings. Okay. We need to find a way to make it work. Okay, so in fact, if we just sort this way, okay, let's see what happens. I saved it. Don't forget to save it. -1, -12, -3, 0, 10, 16, 18, 4. Okay? Exactly as in the example. How can we solve it? Well, luckily, sort also can take a parameter, as in many other programming languages, by the way. And the parameter is a comparison function. Now, we know functions in JavaScript, right? So we know how to define a function, how to create a function. And this function determines the order of the elements. The function is called with the following arguments, A and B, so 2 arguments, because what you need for a sort function is being able to compare two elements and decide if one is before the other or not. Okay? As in any programming languages, if you know the sort from Python, from C, from whatever, unless you are okay with the default sorting algorithm, you need to pass a function to decide how to order things. Okay, note that the function should return a number where a negative value indicates A should come before B, positive vice versa, or 0 or not a number indicates they are equal. Okay? And this guide is nice because it also gives us a suggestion. Remember that this function, A, B, you see the arrow function syntax? It's so convenient to write, also in the documentation. A minus B, it's the return value because we didn't have the curly brackets. Right? A minus B, it's a value which is positive if A is greater than B. Okay, so A should come after than B. Okay, so this function stores a number in ascending order. So we just copy this and paste it here. Okay? Well, we just pass a function as a parameter to another function, what we just talked before in the previous 1 hour and a half. Okay? We define a function on the spot with the syntax, the arrow function, and we pass it to the sort. Let's save it, save and try. Okay, minus 12, minus 3, minus 1, 0, 4, 10, 16, 18. It's what we expect. Okay? Good. Okay. At this point, what do we need to do? Well, the text says, okay, eliminate all negative scores and eliminate the two lowest ranking scores. So now we have a sorted array. We need to find a place where numbers are non-negative and then take two numbers more and eliminate them. Okay? So basically we need to find a position in the array where this condition is verified. Okay? All negative have been excluded and two more. Okay? So there might be different ways of implementing this. Okay? Let's start with the simplest idea. So, I mean, you come from, let's say, imperative programming languages. It means, you do instructions to implement what you like. Like, we need to search for something into an array. We implement a for. Let's try a for first. Okay? For. Const e of, remember, of, not in, of v2. So if v2 dot e greater than or equal 0, break. Oops. Break. And console log I. Okay? Normal for iterates over the array, it breaks when it finds something which is non-negative. Okay? Let's try the result. Oops, there's an error. What did I miss? Is not no, it's defined. It's not defined. Const. It should work. Oh, outside, right. You're right. Okay, thank you. So, I mean, the scope of const e is just inside the for. Okay, so to put it outside, we need to define it outside. There's no other way. And in this case, we need let, right? Let I. Okay. Console. Right, should work. Okay, now it works. Okay, Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to have a value outside the scope. So it says 4, okay? You remember the index starts at 0, okay? So here 4, which actually is also the value. It's the first value, which, yeah, actually, no, I don't like it this way. Anyway, just typing, I mean, just, I mean, creating on the spot. I mean, it's not the index, this is the actual value, okay? So I don't like it either, okay? If I want the index, I mean, so I brought it wrong, right? I should have said if I, right? No, 0, sorry. I need to rehearse it. Yeah, 0. Okay. No, let me say, let's do the traditional stuff. E minus V2 length I plus plus. Okay. If V2I. Okay. That's 3. That's what I expect. I mean, that's a traditional for, like C. Okay. The for of is nicer when you iterate, but you don't need the indexes and so on. I mean, that's a lot of code, right? I mean, and not really JavaScript style. Okay. Why? Because you know, in many modern programming languages, I mean, I consider JavaScript modern. Maybe we have functions or systems that can be used to, you know, to make the code more readable and also more faster and efficient. Okay, so let's search for something more, you know, JavaScript-like. Let's say if we can, you know, in these arrays, yeah, actually we have an array, right? Array. If you have some functions that can help us to find something, okay? Well, actually, there's a find. The first element that satisfies the provided testing function. Element, a function element greater than 10. But actually, I'm not looking for the element. I'm looking for the index, right? Because I want to say +2 and then cut the vector. The array. So find the index returns the index of the first element that satisfies the provided testing function. If no element satisfies the testing function, -1 is returned. Okay. So let's try this just in case. This is not. This is just the prompt. This 3 means element greater than 13. That's the index 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's what we are looking for. Okay, let's try to use it. And by the way, notice that we are passing a function again to another function. Okay, that's the way JavaScript works, and the way why, and the reason why we saw functions, and we would like to use and understand very well functions. So let's say let E equal to V2 find index, and you see the Visual Studio Code, if you installed everything correctly, is also so nice that basically reports a small description of the function, so we don't really have to go and look for the explanation, you know, unless it's really difficult or peculiar to understand. So we expect what? Well, this predicate, that's actually the function, okay? A function where that returns true, okay? So here we need to put an expression. So in the form of an arrow function, that's easier. That's the easiest way. Otherwise, we need to define it outside, okay? The function and then use it. So let's say EL element arrow, just a parameter, so no brackets required. Element greater than or equal 0. Equal 0. Okay? So let's just put the code away. Save. And try. Okay, 3. That's fine. Okay? So you see the difference between this code, let's say you come from C. If you come from Python, you have, for I in range, etc., for I in range, etc. Find index, we pass a function, we stop, it stops, we didn't write the find index. It stops when the function returns true. Okay? So the index is 3 in this case. And then, what do? We could, for instance, use one of the functions that we saw for the arrays. So, there was a set of functions in the slides. I'm going to the slides because I want you to understand how to use the slides in case you are trying to develop the exercises yourself. You remember the slides? There was, methods to eliminate or put new elements in the array. But there was also other methods like remove elements from an array. Okay, this splice. Try to use it. Okay, if you don't like it, you do, the shift that basically eliminates for a certain number of times. So you put it into a while of 4, okay, if you don't know what to do. Okay, but we are trying to use a more JavaScript-like approach. So if there's a method from the standard library of JavaScript, let's try to use it. So splice. So start, that is a number, the 0-based, so starting from 0, location in the array from which to start removing element. So from 0, because we want to start from the first one, to number of elements to remove. Okay? So we need to remove I elements, right? Yeah, 3. You see 3 in the example because we started from 0, so there's one less. I. Okay? So let's print again the array afterwards. So we make sure everything is implemented correctly. Save and execute. Okay, so now we have 0, 4, 10, 16, 18. Okay, the array was modified in place. Actually, in the text, we said call it NN. So let's replace the name with NN. Okay. NN. Okay, nothing special, I just changed the name of a variable. Just test again. Always test because it's so easy to introduce bugs, especially in the beginning. And then we need to remove 2 elements. Well, just call the function to remove elements twice. Where was it? Here. Was it? Yeah, shift removes elements from the beginning. Dot shift. Okay. So v2 shift. That's all. And again. Of course, if you need to remove n, you need a cycle. There's no option. Or you need to use another function like splice and so on and play a little bit with it. Okay? We could splice it again with 2, for instance. But let's see another method. Okay? So let's see the result after saving. 10, 16, 18. Good. And now we need to compute the average, right? Was the add n plus 2 new scores at the end of the array with the value equal to the rounded average of the existing scores. Okay, so let's compute the average. I mean, there's nothing wrong in computing the average in the traditional way. Let's say let average, which is actually the sum, okay, at the beginning, and for yeah, const val. Here it's convenient to use the of v2 average plus equal val, right? Yes, and then average. I mean, I recycled the variables. Otherwise, you can say sum and then average. Okay, average slash v2 dot length. Okay. Let's see what happens. Console log average. Okay. Let's try. 14.66666. Okay. I hope the computation is correct, but you can try 10 plus 60 plus 18 slash 3. Okay. It should be correct. Notice we use dot length for the length of the array. Okay. I think we say the rounded, right? Rounded average. How do we round? Well, let's suppose I have no idea. Okay, I know ChatGPT and so on, but I mean, don't disturb ChatGPT for these small things. You know, it consumes a lot of energy and all this stuff. You know, JavaScript rounding. Okay, you see, first link is developer Mozilla.org, so Mozilla Developer Network. Math.round. Okay. Static method returns the value of a number rounded to the nearest integer. Looks fine. Let's try. So let's put it here. Math. What was the name? Average. No, round. Sorry. Round. Okay. Save test. 15. Okay. That's rounded. 14.6 gets 15. Okay. And then we need to add these two elements. No, not two. nn plus 2. Okay. That was the requirement. nn plus 2 at the end of the array. How do we add? Well, again, no idea. I mean, try. We actually use again that method. I mean, the splice is also able to add the stuff, not only remove. Okay, let's try to use it just for practice. I mean, we can do push. No, push it's in the beginning, right? We need to use another one. Anyway, let's try to use it. So we have v2 splice. I don't remember the parameters, so I mean, we need to remove. Actually, we don't need to remove nothing, but we need to start from a place, and so we start from the end of the array. Okay, we delete nothing, and we add something, which is a number of elements, okay, which is still I don't have, right? Either I put average and I put this in a cycle, or maybe I create the array before calling splice. I like the second option. Okay, so we need something here. You know, Visual Studio Code is nice, but it's suggested too much. Okay, so let's try to add an array that we need to create first, right? Well, how do we create an array of a certain number of elements? Well, let's create a new array. One possibility is create an empty array and push, but at this, if we do the same, if we do it this way, sorry, actually we can do it directly on V2, right? Let's try to play a little bit with the functions, okay? I know it looks weird, but you know, just to show you something that, which is, you know, to introduce you to the library functions of JavaScript, okay? So let's go to standard built-in object as array, the one that we were looking before. You know, array constructor, okay? It creates an array of objects. Actually, this is quite special. You see that you can call it with new, but you can call it also without new, because it has a return inside, okay? You see, there's a note indeed about this. Can be called with or without new. Both create a new array instance. Use the syntax that you like, okay? When you define your function to create an object, it's better to use new because it's easier to read, okay? The parameters, you need a number of parameters or the array length, which is nice, okay? I think there's an example at a certain point. No, okay. So this time there's no example, okay. So if the only argument passed to the array constructor is an integer between 0 and 2 to the power 32 minus 1 inclusive, this returns a new JavaScript array with its length property set to that number. This implies an array of array length empty slots is created, okay? Not slots with actual undefined values. Okay, this is something that we didn't mention in the slides, but it's better to know, okay? Which actually, you can have empty slots in the arrays, okay? Because basically arrays works, you know, you have a value when you put a value inside the array. It's not really an array that, like in C, you define a size and then there's some memory behind those slots in the array. And so you have a value or you have undefined. Okay, so just be careful about this. But I mean, let's try. So, const, new array, added array, array dot, no, not dot, array length. You see, there are different ways of using array, okay? And we say the nn plus 2, right? Okay. And then, what can we do? I think array, there's an array fill. Okay. Okay, there's some advertisement. Fill method of array instance changes all the elements within a range of indices in an array to a static value, a fixed value. It returns the modified array. Okay, so array 1 fill 0, 2, 4. Fill with 0. From position 2 until position 4, okay? 2 to 4, and so it makes 0, 0 here, okay? We can try the example, but... So you see here, fill 6, there were 4 positions, and they are all 6, so that's what we need, okay? We try. Of course, I already tried, I already played a little bit, I already know, but if you don't know, you just try, okay? So just put it here. You can concatenate things because you have an object, they have properties, some properties have methods, so like you do in any other language, you can concatenate calls. Fill, and so value, and we say the value is the average, right? Okay, and now we have the array to add. Added array. And now I want to print it, right? So let me move it here. No. Oh. It did the line. Okay. So that's the code, and we will try. I will commit the code on the GitHub at the end of the lecture, okay? Okay, that's wrong, right? That's not what we want. What happened? Actually, we have an array with 4 slots, okay? The first 3 slots are numbered, and the 4th slot is a reference to another array. I didn't want the array in the 4th place. I wanted, which are 5 additional slots in the array, right? How can I fix this? Yeah, the 3 dots. So we saw the 3 dots. We see the 3 dots. So we spread the array. It means that the array gets converted in single parameters. And we are lucky because the splice, okay, takes, let me okay, takes a number of items at the end, so a variable number of parameters. And we can pass all the elements that we would like to add. Okay? So save it. And we are done, I think. Yes. Okay? So we solved the exercise. Of course, it took quite a lot of time, and you know, we might have used, let's say, a more traditional approach. Let I equal to 0, I minus less than the length, and so on, and do everything with 4. That's fine. But we would like to learn JavaScript, right? So let's try to use some constructs and syntax that we saw. Okay? So let's take this away. So ugly. I mean, so bad. Okay? Let me see if I can push it straight away. So you see also how to use the Visual Studio Code in case. So first example, solution. To first exercise. Commit. There are not stage changes to commit. You're right. Okay. So I need to add them. I add the x1 and then commit and then sync. This action will pull and push commit. Fine. Okay. This action can be done only by me because it's my repository. But I think now you should see it online. Okay, it's there. Okay, it's nice because so I can push and you all immediately get what I've written. Okay, good. So we still have some time. Let's try the second exercise. Now we are getting, let's say, more familiar, right, with the system. Exercise 2. Handling JavaScript string. Manage a list of people names. Define the names as a comma-separated string containing the names. Define a comma-separated. Yes, string containing the names. For instance, Luigi De Russo's that was the teachers from quite a few years ago of some of these courses. Parse the string and create an array containing one name per array position. Beware, no extra spaces should be present. So I can write the string as I like, but I would like to eliminate the spaces. Okay, just to practice a little bit. Create a second array by computing the acronyms of the people as the initial letters of the name. Acronyms should be all in capital letters. For example, Luigi De Russo's LDR. Okay. Print the resulting list of acronyms and the full names extra in alphabetical order of acronym. That means using sort with strings. Okay. Just to try using sort, not just with numbers. Okay, so let's try. How do we do? I mean, we start a new file, another JavaScript program, another file. Of course, you can play everything in the same. We can do everything in the same file, but you lose what you've done until now, or it becomes too messy. So exercise 2, JS. Always remember, use strict. You can use also the single quotes. Okay, no problem. Okay, good. So const usernames. This is no. Let me try the template literal. So yes, the backtick. You need to search for the backtick on your keyboard. Okay, in Linux it's Alt GR and some of the keys with the numbers or in that line. Okay. And so we have, let me copy because I don't like to type. We only lose time. Let me copy it. X2. Okay. Just put some spaces. Okay. Just to practice. Okay. Console log. Just test it. Usernames. Okay. Remember to test the correct file. Okay, X2. Of course. Okay, something is missing. X2? What's missing? Module not found. I'm in the correct. Did they save it? Yes. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it requires double. Sorry. I didn't know this. No, that's not the reason. Ah, yeah, sorry. It's not in this directory. It's so basic. Error, right? Ah. You see, I put it in the wrong place. Okay? It was looking for a file that didn't exist, okay? And unfortunately, it didn't simply say file not found, okay? Module not found, okay. So that's why we are here to help you in the lab, because we don't want you to lose, half an hour on a basic thing like this. Maybe we can spot it faster than you, okay? Okay. Let me check. I mean, I think it should work with these single quotes. Yes, it works. Okay, good. Okay, so what do we need to do? I already forgot. Parse the string and create an array containing one name per array position. Okay? So basically, we need to split the string at commas, right? Again, a string is like an array. It's iterable, so we can do for I equals 0, 1, 2, 3 until the length and do everything manually. But let's try to search for something more efficient, as you probably would do with Python, if you know Python, for instance, right? So, so let me search for some methods. I mean, actually, how do you search for methods on strings? Well, I mean, let's suppose I don't know. Split strings into elements of array, JavaScript. Okay? I mean, these basic things can be solved also by Google. We don't need this ChatGPT. Okay? So, split, match, and so on. Split, I like split. Okay? Oh, okay, that's the MDN. That's the one I prefer, okay? There is plenty of other sources. Just be aware of the fact that not every source is so, well curated like official documentation. So there might be some small things that they didn't get right or didn't write correctly. Okay, if there's the MDN, that's the one I like more. Okay, split method of string takes a pattern and divides the string into an ordered list of substrings. By searching for the pattern, put these substrings into an array and returns the array. Actually, it's mostly solved, right? So, you see the example, which is a bit too big. Let's try to run it. So, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, split on space, and print a third, actually the fourth, because it starts from 0. The fourth word is fox. Okay? So, that should be what we expect. Okay, let's try to use it, okay, on, actually it works on a string. Okay, so that's perfect. So, no, I missed what it returns. Returns the new array, that's fine, okay? So, what's the name that we used? Names, const names. User names split, and we need something to split, that is the comma, right? Okay, and then console log names. Let's try. Okay, that was the original string, and that is the result. Every line has a new element of the array. Not really what we are looking for, because you see there's a new line, there's the space, and so on. We should try to find a way to get rid of the spaces and the blanks in general. Okay? Actually, I don't really have at this point a nicer solution than to go over each single string and remove the spaces from each single string. Okay, but for removing spaces there should be a method. Again, we can search on Google, but I think there should be trim, right? Yes. Sorry. Yeah, we should have a trim. I mean, we can search in Google. Removes white space from both ends of the strings. Return a new string. Okay? And then we can iterate over the array. Okay? Or, yeah, maybe you can say, no, we cannot use it on the original string because it works only at the ends, not in the middle. Okay? And we have to preserve the spaces between first name, last name, and so on. Okay? So let's just try to use this one. Okay? What's the time? Yes. So for yes, let I equals 0. I mean the traditional cycle, I would say. I less than yeah, names length, right? I plus plus. So names I is what we are looking for, right? We need to trim it. Okay, it returns a new string. Remember, you cannot modify strings in JavaScript. In any case, any method will return a new string if it's modified. And where do we put it? Well, I'm lazy. I'm overwriting the same place. Okay, that can be done. Okay? Okay. Yeah. So let's try. Okay, now it's nice. We removed the blanks, I mean the new lines, the spaces at beginning at end. Not one thing, okay, which I did it on purpose. Const names. Names is a const. It's an array. but we could modify the elements of the array. Okay? We cannot assign a new reference to names. So we cannot write names equal to something new because it will give an error. Okay? But even if it's const, it doesn't mean that the elements of the array or the object and so on cannot be modified. Okay? Just be aware of this. I mean, const is not a solution for everything. Okay, good. And then we would like to compute the acronyms, right? So I think, yeah. No spaces, we solved it. Create a second array, we computing the acronyms, so the people is the initial letter of the name. Okay, all capital letters. Let's try. So we play a little bit with the strings. Yes. So, yeah, we need to process each element of the array, right? So, for we change things a little bit, right? So we try another kind of for, the for of const, and then you will see functional programming. We can use for each and so on, but I mean I don't want to introduce it here now. Name of names, and then yes, let's open the brackets. Then we need to have uppercases and just take the first letter, so the first character of each single word. Okay? So we can do the first thing, making everything uppercase, because in any case, I mean, we don't care if we make everything uppercase. So name, that's a string. Let's see if, it looks like it hears me. It can hear me. To uppercase, okay. Convert all alphabetical characters in a string to uppercase, okay. If you don't know, you just search Google, whatever search engine system you like, okay. Okay. Of course, it returns a new string. Strings cannot be modified, okay. So I think it's let s string, and then, well, we'll search for spaces, and if there's a letter following the space, following the space, we'll take it, okay, and we'll put it into a new array, a new string, okay. So I mean, this is a bit of programming. I mean, doesn't really matter. I think we already used it. The I as fine. Let I, no, not 0. Well, let's write 0 and then we fix it. I name length name. No, that solution was different. Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, I plus plus. If name we can say if the previous character is a space, the current character must be made uppercase. Okay, actually, yeah, it's already uppercase, so we can take it. Okay, but I mean, so let's say I minus 1. So if we say I minus 1, you need to start from 1. Okay. If this is equal to space, okay, space, and then what we do? We add it to actually a string, because I mean we don't really need an array. We want a new string. Okay. So let's say string. Okay. We need to define it. I'll go back to define it. String plus name. What is I? Right. Okay. Okay. Actually, we should use s here, but I mean, let's reorganize the code a little bit so I don't make too many mistakes were explained. Okay, so let's assume name was not uppercase. We can make uppercase also from single characters. Okay, to uppercase, and so I mean we don't have to do this, and here we do let str. Okay, the string. Okay, so I created a string, an empty string, and when I find a space, I take the previous character, I make it uppercase. Actually, yeah, this is a function. Okay, and I add this new character, actually string, because there's no concept of character in Java, it's just strings. I add this string to the old one. Okay, and reassign it to string, to str. Okay, but in this way I lost the first character, right? Because I started from 1. The first one has to be made uppercase in any case, because we removed the spaces before, right? Okay, so here we need to put the first character, which has actually a string again in JavaScript. So name 0 dot up to uppercase. Okay, this of course assumes that name 0 exists. Okay, so we didn't check for 2 commas which are closed without the name. Okay, the program is not perfect in the sense that it cannot handle all the cases. Let's say we are just trying to experiment a little bit. So I mean we need to find a reasonable compromise to experiment a little bit with JavaScript. Okay, so let me try just to print here before creating the array. Console log str. Okay, and let's see what happens. That's good, right? Actually they were already uppercase, so we could change something, right? L R T L and so on. Okay, because of course they are already uppercase, we didn't test anything, but they still work. Okay, you see now they are lowercase, they still work. Okay, so we only need to add each acronym to a new array. So I mean let's define a list of acronyms. Const, I like the const. Okay, acronyms, empty array. Okay, and here what do you do? I mean acronyms, this method that everybody likes at the exam. I mean push str. I don't really know exactly why, because then we will do functional programming. And let's print console log acronyms. Okay, so we just defined an empty array. Every time we have a new element, we push it, so we add at the end, and test it. Okay, LDR, LM, FC, and so on, and should be correct. Okay, so we played a little bit with strings. Okay, we don't really care, exactly of the requirements and so on. Just extra alphabetical order of acronym. Okay, fine. I mean, we can do the extra in case you like it. I mean, acronyms sort. Okay. We already know the sort. We know that it works on strings. These are already strings. It should work. Okay. What are you going to do if you need the reverse order? Well, you need to pass a callback. I mean, a function. Callback. We'll talk about callback the next time. But a function that reverse the order. So it does the opposite. In some ways, it helps you, to create the reverse order by checking the single characters of the string. I think if you search online, probably there's a function which is already ready for this because, you know, strings is so common case. Okay. I think I mentioned everything, right? Yeah. So let me just push the last stuff here. So solution second exercise. So you have it. So next time will be next Monday. Okay. I will not be present, but you will meet my colleague Antonio. Okay. Always refer to the schedule. Okay. Monday the 3rd, room 29B. And I will put the slides online when I'm back in the office. Okay. We already have the slides. I just wanted him to check because he is explaining them to you. Okay. So you'll meet him as well. Okay. So we will meet again on Thursday, okay? But remember there will be lab next week, okay? Tuesday with my colleague and Friday with me, okay? So we'll have time to spend together in case you have any problems with your computer. Don't worry too much. We will fix it in the lab, and so you'll have the environment ready to experiment what we did today and go on with the course. Okay. No questions, right? Or do you have questions? No. So thank you for your attention and see you on Thursday with me, but on Monday with my colleague. So the next lecture is on Monday. And if you have any questions at the end, please come. Okay, thank you.